good idea to do it in horizontal mode.
Okay. What are your experience of working and teaching students from different countries and cultures?
Well, you see, I wasn't a teacher to begin with. I worked as a lab rat. I was down in the basement doing experiments all day long, and then a funny thing happened. Back in the year 2000-ish, what happened there? Well, 10 new countries joined the European Union. Romania, Bulgaria, lots of other countries. And the company that I was working for was a place called the Danish Technological Institute, and they wanted to upbuild the expertise of all the people in the laboratories there. So they invited them to Denmark to give them courses and all kinds of stuff. And I wasn't going to be a teacher, but then one evening my boss called at 7 o'clock in the evening, Matthew, Ed, who's going to be holding this course tomorrow, he's got influenza. Can you fill in? Yeah, sure, why not? So that's what I did. And I didn't really know anything about what I was teaching about, but I got up there and started teaching, and it was loads of fun. And one thing led to another. Before I knew it, I was holding training courses in Belgrade in Serbia. I held a training course for some people in Alexandria in Egypt. And but most of these were either technicians, like 30-year-old technicians, or 25, 40-year-old technicians. And but it was still fun teaching. Then I thought, well, you know, the teaching thing was so much fun, but I thought, why not try to be a teacher? So back in the year 2012, I sort of thought, well, let's try and find another job. And then I called up this guy who was working in the international department of Viborg Private Riage School, and he invited me over, and I never actually had to fill out the job application. He just went around introducing me as the new teacher. Cool. So here I am at the Viborg Private Riage School teaching the lovely kids about maths, science and stuff. So my experience prior to being here was mainly with adults, or young adults. Now I'm with all these crazy teenagers, you know, and it has its good points and its bad points, I guess, but yeah. So that's pretty much that.
Yeah. Okay. So how is this school system different from other systems like
yes. We like that. Well, see, the important thing to know is that in Danish schools, probably like schools many places in the world, it's a very sort of female-dominated system. See, this is a bit of a generalisation, but usually women have this tendency to talk and talk and talk and talk and not really, you know, decide on anything, you know. Whereas back in my old place, we would be 25 engineers, male engineers in a room, and it would take us half an hour to decide everything for the next month. Ding, 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 you know, finished. There's a lot more discussion at this school, which has its good points, you know, it's got its good points, and sometimes you might think, well, yeah. Well, anyway, so there's a difference in how the adults relate to each other, of course, the adults who are working at this place, from my old workplace, but it's also a very warm atmosphere. Everybody gets on very well with each other, very supportive, and also the relationship between students and the teachers is probably quite a bit different in Denmark than it is in many other countries in the world. I remember I went to a Catholic boarding school in New Zealand, and we were never allowed to address the teacher by their own first names. So my name's Matthew Adams, so if one of my students called me Matthew in New Zealand, it's Mr. Adams! That's what we had to say. Whereas here in Denmark, everybody's on a first name basis, you know, so, hey Matthew, or just shout out without even mentioning my name. So the difference relationship between the students and the teachers, and it's a very healthy relationship, I think. There's a very short distance. I mean, everybody knows who's the authority, who decides in the classroom, but that doesn't mean you can't have fun, which we do lots of.
Yep. So what is the advantages about having an international department in a Danish school?
Well, and especially a school like Viborg Private Riage School, well, it's a private school, first and foremost, and most of the people in the Danish department come from sort of wealthy families who have a lot of resources to help their children. And there might be a danger of it just being closed in on itself, only focusing on Danish values, Danish traditions, Danish history. One of the great things about having an international department is that the Danish students can interact with people from completely different cultures, different histories. The history, the culture of somebody coming from India, for example, is completely different from that of a Danish student. So it benefits the Danish students, and also, of course, it's a great way for the international students to integrate into our society, because this is probably the most important place for integration in any country is in the schools. So, did I answer your question? Yeah, I can talk for the next half hour if you want, but yeah. So that's pretty much what I...
Yep. Thank you.
You're more than welcome.